why and how people don't understand Bitcoin. We'll also talk about why they think Bitcoin is dying. We'll talk about the evolution of Bitcoin, and we'll talk about why and how nation states are adopting Bitcoin as well. So here's a great site. It's called bitcoindeaths.com. And so it shows all the times that people have doubted Bitcoin and the price at they like during the time when they doubted it. So here's the first post of this guy saying it's by some underground economist. Bitcoin was 11 cent during this time. The title of it is Why Bitcoin Can't Be a Currency. And so what he says is negative feedback loops like this are basically homeostasis in nature. Positive feedback loops like this exist with Bitcoin are lethal. The only thing that's even kept Bitcoin alive this long is its novelty. Either it will remain a novelty forever or it will transition from novelty status to dead faster than you think. This was made October 15, 2010, and the price of Bitcoin again was 11 cent. And today, this is June 25th, 2025. The price of Bitcoin today currently is trading at $107,458.59. So whoever this dude is that said this in 2010 and 11 cent is probably eating his heart out because he could have bought a Bitcoin for 11 cent. He could have bought, he could have, for the hell of it, he could have bought a couple Bitcoin, let it sit and see where it went. And today he would have been probably a billionaire, right? This guy here talks about the rise and fall of Bitcoin at $2.33. Beyond the most hardcore users, skepticism has only increased. Nobel Prize winning economist Paul Krugman wrote that the currency's tendency to fluctuate has encouraged hoarding. Stephen Brands, a former eCash consultant and digital currency pioneer, calls Bitcoin clever and is loath to bash it but believes it's fundamentally structured like a pyramid scheme that rewards early adopters. So this was at $2.33. Mind you, Bitcoin is at $107,000 right now. Number go up mentality. We're not worried about number go up. Let's talk about why these people are trying to shit on Bitcoin, if you will, right? For lack of better words. Bitcoin is not a pyramid scheme. What a pyramid scheme is when you have some sort of group or whatever it is, and people bet on other people coming in to put their money or their value into this group, and they essentially take their money, leave the group, get more people to come in, leave the group, more people to come in, leave the group. That's how a pyramid scheme works. It's a scheme, it's a scam. It's the people at the bottom lose. The people who were in the group originally, who made it, the early adopters win and they leave. That's how it works, right? Everybody else is losers. Bitcoin doesn't work like that. Bitcoin works by the people who did adopt early in Bitcoin, yes, they were either lucky or they understood Bitcoin. But there are no losers in Bitcoin. No one is taking your money and leaving, right? Bitcoin works like this. You put your money in Bitcoin, you put your dollars in Bitcoin, you put your value into Bitcoin. And as time goes on, your value gains more. The value that you put in, the money you put in gains more value over time. And it keeps going over time. And you're able to use that to do whatever you need to do, to buy a house, to fund your child's college, to buy a car, to do whatever. The money you have in Bitcoin grows. Essentially, Bitcoin is a savings account that has an interest rate of 60% sometimes, 50% sometimes, maybe 80%, maybe 110%, depending on what it is, right? So whoever this guy is who said this at 2033 cent, he's probably eating his foot right now, punching air. He's probably punching air right now, mad as hell, punching air. Keep punching, buddy. I think that a lot of people don't understand Bitcoin and they'd rather say that Bitcoin is failing or that it's going to die. But the math and just looking at this chart itself, it's the proof. It shows you that Bitcoin isn't going anywhere and it won't go anywhere for a long time. Again, Bitcoin has died over 470 times according to this chart. Well, over 430 times according to this chart. And the reason that I feel like that is a thing is because every 4 years there's a halving cycle. And typically during these halving cycles, Bitcoin is very volatile. It may go up a lot, it may go down a lot. And if it does go down a lot, it may crash a lot, right? In the short term. But in the long term, it always comes back with new all-time highs. And so a lot of people feel as if the price of Bitcoin in dollar terms, it won't go anywhere. When we see that it has. And a lot of people choose not to sit through those high volatility moments which is one of the reasons why they feel like Bitcoin will fail, because one day maybe they think that Bitcoin will go from $100,000, like right now where it is, to $1,000. You're never going to see $1,000 Bitcoin again. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. You won't see it. Just like you won't ever see $100 Bitcoin again. You won't ever see $50 Bitcoin again. It's just not going to happen. You've missed it. But you're not too late. A lot of people feel as if they are too late to invest into Bitcoin. You're not. Bitcoin rewards everybody. You get into Bitcoin when you deserve it. Whenever your ego, whenever you feel as if, whenever you put your ego to the side and you take time to research and understand Bitcoin, only then will you know that you were the only person in your way was you. So, we just talked about how Bitcoin was dead or is dying. Now we're going to talk about some of the main arguments that people say about Bitcoin. A lot of people think that Bitcoin will be hacked. So here is a little blog post by this guy. His name is Darfcoin. And this is his Bitcoin blog post, right? He goes into detail and he talks about how the blockchain has never been attacked and that it's never resulted in money being stolen from anyone. There has also been no report of theft as a direct vulnerability of the blockchain being hacked. He goes and he says that Bitcoin is protected by a standard cryptographic function, and that these features have been reviewed by cryptography experts and are considered unlikely to be broken in the foreseeable future. He goes on to say that it's safe to say that the currency itself has never been hacked. However, several major websites using the currency have been hacked, often resulting in high profile Bitcoin thefts. Some media outlets erroneously report that these heists as hacks of Bitcoin itself. An analogy: just because someone has stolen the US dollar from a supermarket does not mean that the US dollar as a currency has been hacked. Most Bitcoin thefts are the result of inadequate wallet security. That is a big thing. A lot of people, when they are buying their Bitcoin, they do not secure their Bitcoin properly. They don't protect their seed phrase the right way. They might put it on the internet. They might put it somewhere where it's easily accessible by some adversary or whatever and is able to get stolen. That is the only way that your Bitcoin will ever be stolen, because of you individually. You as an individual. It's, even in IT security, I'm an IT guy. The number one threat or the number one vulnerability is the user, is the end user. So, you know, take that, put it in your back pocket and always remember that. This little depiction of Bitcoin and the security of Bitcoin being compared to the power of the sun. I wonder if I can like zoom in on it, what it looks like. Does it show? Okay, cool. Yeah, it does show. So, oh, and there's even like this small little depiction here. It says that imagine you built a perfect computer, forget about G hash and megahertz. You built a computer which you use to absolute minimum amount of energy theoretically possible to record a change in a single bit. Essentially, it's just going into detail that says that, you know, Bitcoin, your money is secured by the laws of the universe and it won't be hacked. Like it's pretty much impossible for it to be hacked. So when, this goes out to all my other Bitcoiners, when you have somebody who says that, oh, Bitcoin can be hacked or the government can hack it or this, that, and the third, it can't be. Send them this blog post, let them read it. I'll post the link in the description below. Okay, so this next one gets on my nerves because I just think it's the most irrelevant argument ever. It doesn't make sense to me, but a lot of people feel like it does. A lot of people like to say that, and well, so here he says, we often hear this from like this question from normies. Normies are what Bitcoiners refer to people who don't buy Bitcoin, right? Or non-coiners or whatever you want to call them, right? I disagree, or I don't disagree. I don't like this argument because it just doesn't make sense. If the government were to shut down the internet, not Bitcoin, if they shut down the internet, Bitcoin wouldn't die because as soon as the internet comes back up, the network continues. The blockchain will continue doing blocks. Nothing's going to stop it, right? It doesn't stop. It maintains its last block. If every node or if all the internet was to go down in the entire world, that means, for one, that means a lot of countries would have to work together. And let's be honest, countries don't work together. They never do. So that would have to be one thing. And then they would all have to agree to shut the internet down for a certain amount of time or forever, right? I highly doubt that's going to happen. There's a lot of money they miss out on. A lot of resources would get stopped. A lot of communication would get stopped. It doesn't make sense, right? But anyways, in a magical world, let's say that this is true. So he says, if there is no internet connection or you are in a place without coverage, how can you use Bitcoin? Or if a government has to shut down the internet access, Wouldn't it be a danger that we lose our BTC? First of all, the government is not going to close access to the internet because they depend on it 100%. Absolutely. Yes, they can restrict it, they can censor it. But nowadays, some computers interact by an ad hoc network, can already use many versions of the internet that cannot be censored. See Tor. Tor is a private browser. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And he also goes into detail as to how there are, well, before we get to that, he says the question is, if you live in a country where the government is an oppressor, it would be more logical to ask, why did we let the government to enslave us? The problem is not with Bitcoin, it is with the government and with us because we let them do this. Let's not forget the quote: when people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is freedom. If you are living in a tyranny, then your concern is not how to use Bitcoin, but how to stop this tyranny. And you can stop it exactly by starting using Bitcoin. Absolutely. And then he says, how to use Bitcoin without internet. This is a thing. There are many options to use Bitcoin without an internet connection. Recently, there have been tests with radio devices such as GoTenna, or using antennas and equipment with connection to satellite and using the satellite network. Yes, there are Bitcoin nodes running the blockchain on satellites in space. He says that in September 2020, a group of Bitcoiners in Venezuela, crypto buyers, have connected to a BTC node to the satellite network, and he shows you a guide on how to use it. That's amazing. That's awesome. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I'll also post this blog in the in the description below as well, so you can check it out. If you're having an argument with someone and they say like, how are you going to use Bitcoin if the internet goes out? Send them this shit. In summary, right? Bitcoin is not dying. Bitcoin is evolving. Bitcoin is catching the attentions of countries like El Salvador. We have China, Russia, Japan, Africa, or countries in Africa. I'm sorry. We have even places in the UK, Australia, Canada. Bitcoin is attracting the attention of countries who are looking into buying Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. One of the things that Michael Saylor and a lot of other people say is that the first country that prints their money, their own currency to buy Bitcoin, will they're going to be at the top. They'll be the new world reserve current, not world reserve currency, but world reserve leader, right? In terms of, our monetary leader, like the United States is today. We can see this in everyday, just news. We can see this in wherever you are. You can see it on Twitter, whatever news channel you watch. You can research it. It's out there. This is happening today. We have institutions buying Bitcoin. We have companies, MSTR, Metaplanet. We have GameStop. There are so many others that I can't think of right now, but there are billion institutions buying millions, if not billions of dollars of Bitcoin every day, every week, every month, just to stack because they know that Bitcoin is here to stay. The last race we had was the space race. The next race we're gonna have is gonna be a race for who can acquire the most Bitcoin. And it's happening right before our eyes today. We see it, and it's just happening. And a lot of people don't pay attention to it, but I hope and I pray that everybody who watches my videos is paying attention to Bitcoin and buying some, stacking it. I'm making these videos for you to watch, to educate you, and to light a fire under your ass. So buy some Bitcoin.